Tom, holy shit, this is an amazing movie and a brilliant performance. I mean, this really speaks to the post 9/11 generation. And so many of my friends that went on tour of duties had dealt with PTSD and addiction problems when they got back. But this might be the most raw and open performance that you've done on screen yet. How did you find the quirks and the look of Cherry? Because I know you mentioned in other interviews about how Nico's voice in the book, he almost has this this poetry slam kind of way about him. Can you talk to me about finding the character?
Yeah, it was an incredibly difficult one to figure out, you know, because we're trying to tell the story of someone developing over the course of 20 years in 2 hours. So it required a lot of strategic planning as to how we were going to develop his arc. Throughout the film, there are 6 kind of mini arcs in the chapters of the film. So finding the connective tissue between each version of Cherry was really quite difficult, but it all boiled down to preparing, researching. You know, I must have interviewed 30 different veterans who had all been suffering from PTSD and substance abuse, and getting to know their stories and hearing what they had been through was so influential into the designing of this character.
Now, emotionally, you know, this had to be one of the toughest roles you've ever done, but even physically, you go through quite a physical transformation also. You gained and lost weight for the role at different points. Can you talk to me about the physical preparation you had to do for this role?
Yeah, that was what was so brutal about this film, was losing the weight. I mean, for about 3 months before shooting, I started cutting weight. And it was pretty simple. I just basically went for a run every day and didn't eat anything. So there was no like fancy tricks in the way that I did it. And then obviously once we finished the dope life portion of the film, I started to, you know, put some weight back on and try and get the little puppy fat things going on so I could do the whole innocent little kid thing. But it was tough. Necessary, but tough.
Now you truly disappear into the role, and I think you can possibly play anybody. You could probably play me seamlessly. Now, a lot of actors learn about themselves when they choose challenging roles like this. How did you prepare for the role mentally, for the mental challenge you're about to face?
I think that was the one thing that I couldn't prepare myself for. You know, when it comes to physical challenges, I'm no stranger to that. Playing Spider-Man is arguably the most physical role a young kid could play. But the mental aspect of making this film really, really knocked me on my arse. I just wasn't prepared for it day in and day out. I remember the first day of shooting, we shot the scene where the camera flies down and then it pushes into the house and I run down the stairs. And that was the first day of filming. And I was exhausted. And I remember the Russos saying, like, don't burn yourself out, mate. We've got 70 days left. So the emotional aspect of making this film was really, really tough.
I want to talk about Ciara's performance also, because she's brilliant as well. Can you talk to me about working with her and the role of Emily and what she brought to that role that may have not been on the page?
She brought so much to set, and we were so lucky to have her. I mean, she was so brave. I think coming onto a film set where the leading actor and the 2 directors have worked together for 6 years must be very daunting. But if it was daunting to her, she never showed it. She was so brave. She was willing to be vulnerable. She was willing to make mistakes. You know, whenever I had to go to these really dark places, she was right there with me. And, you know, we became like a team. If I fell to pieces, she'd be there to pick the pieces up and vice versa. And, you know, she's fantastic in this film. And you know, the film wouldn't be half as good without her. So we are so lucky that she was a part of this project.
Now, switching gears for a second, Screen Rant wants to know, you and I are both Marvel fans, and they have a ton of movies and shows along the way in the pipeline. What are you most excited for after WandaVision, not including Spider-Man 3?
I mean, I'm loving WandaVision at the moment. It's easily one of my favorite Marvel shows I've ever seen. I mean, I'm obviously very excited for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, I've got my famously strange, rocky relationship with those 2, but I love them both, and I'm excited to see how it works out. I think the Loki show looks really, really cool. We've been pestering Marvel for weeks to see if they'll set up a screening for Black Widow for us, but they haven't. So if you're watching Marvel, sort it out, because we want to watch it.
Well, look, Tom, amazing performance, brilliant
Thank
performance,
you.
man. I can't wait for everyone to see this. Thank you so much for your time, man. I truly appreciate it.